You know, I made that bet before I knew you, Lainey. Before I really knew me.
What was it for anyway? I mean, what did you end up losing?
My best friend. She taught me a lot. Before her, I thought we had to have all the answers right now.
And now?
I'm kind of liking the fact that I don't.
I'm Vanessa Zoltan.
And I'm Ronald Young Jr.
And we got him back on Hot and Bothered.
Glad to be here.
Okay, Ronald, I'm going to walk you through what we affectionately call the HEA, the happily ever after of this movie. Are you ready for me to summarize?
Oh, I am ready.
Okay, feel free to jump in, obviously.
Cool.
So Freddie Prinze Jr., a.k.a. Zach, goes looking for Lainey because he's heard that blonde bully man is taking her to a hotel to try to have sex with her. He can't find her. He's calling around to hotels and driving around in his weird Jeep with headlights on the roll bar. I'm like, are you a cop? What's happening? Okay. Lainey comes home. She reports to her father and Simon that she had fun. Oh, wait. Pan the camera. Freddie Prinze Jr. is there. It turns out she didn't need to be saved by him. She saved herself. Kevin Pollak dad takes Simon upstairs so Freddie Prinze Jr. and Lainey can have a minute alone. He says, why don't you go to the backyard so the two of you can talk? Freddie Prinze Jr. is like, I tried to save you, but I couldn't find you. And she's like, don't worry. I had a foghorn and I blew it in his ear. And I would just really hate if I permanently injured his hearing. She then says, you missed the prom for me to Freddie Prinze Jr. And he says, yes, which he didn't.
No,
he was there to be crowned king.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you lying to her still?
You were at most of prom. Like, stop it.
You were at most of prom. You left prom 10 minutes early.
Yeah, you left after they did the coronation. You were at the whole prom. Nothing that happens after the coronation matters.
Yeah, no, I was so dumb. Okay. This is his whole grovel, Ronald. He says, I made that bet before I knew you, before I really knew me. And that is his excuse. It's not looking back, I shouldn't have made a bet on anyone. It is, you didn't deserve for me to make a bet on you.
Yeah.
Because it turns out you're great. He calls her his best friend, which I do find sweet. I like that. Whatever. Then he says this like total non sequitur thing where he's like, I thought I needed to have all the answers, but you taught me that I don't. Not something that she taught him, not something they ever discussed. She's wanted to go to art school this whole time.
She has the answers.
And then the dad lights up the backyard. It turns out that they have a beautiful backyard too. She says that she feels like a character in another rom-com. She's going to go to art school. Then the big thing is she asks, what were the stakes of the bet? What did you lose? And he says, I never go back on a bet. And then it turns out that what he has to do is be naked at graduation. And he is just in his honors stole and a soccer ball, protecting his penis. And then the last shot of the movie is that he throws the soccer ball at Lainey. So he is totally naked and she's sort of in on the joke. And it ends on, I think, this like very cute close up of Rachel Lee Cook's beautiful face.
I just want to say the best part of that last scene was the callback joke where Paul Walker cannot hear his name being called at graduation and and he plays it so well when he's yelling, what?
Yeah.
And Lil Kim is like, they called you. I laughed out loud. That's like old school comedy chops to have that joke come back. Like it was hilarious to see that. So much so I did not care about what happened. I'm still chuckling at that as he's sitting there naked.
He's also chewing on his tassels of the graduation cap. He can't hear graduation, so he's like, I don't know, I'm sucking on the tassels like a toddler.
Like, I don't care. I'm just here. Like, whatever, man. I'm about to go hang out with Vin Diesel. We'll see what's good.
My career is looking up. Don't worry about me, guys.
I'll be done with this. I'm going to make millions of dollars. See you later, losers. Oh.
Is there anything you would add to my summary?
No, I think I think you nailed it. I think this is like the classic. Every high school movie ends like this. Every single one. Even the ones I like, Mean Girls, American Pie, there's always some like, oh, we all have to make it to event. Oh no, now we have to leave event or something spectacular happens at event. But at some point, the two main characters have to break away and have some sort of reconciliation. And then as the denouement happens after that, it's like, oh no, now there's either graduation or the summer trip, flash forward later or something where we get all of this resolution to everything that happened, including the people that we don't like. So there was nothing remarkable about this one. As a matter of fact, I don't even think this is the best I've ever seen. I think American Pie does these events much better, even when it comes to callback jokes and all of that. But this one, it gets to the end and he's naked and he throws her the soccer ball. And I'm just like, I agree. The close up of Rachel Lee Cook's face is cute at the end, but just like, you get to the end and it's like, he didn't really pay reconciliation. He's naked at graduation when feels like a plus to him for some reason. Even the way it's played, they're like, ooh, we about to see Freddie Prinze Jr. naked. Like, was this embarrassing for you, Zach? I don't think it was. So like, Did you lose the bet? Right.
I think that part of the grovel is that the person who wronged the other person, which, in heteronormative romance, it tends to be the man who needs to grovel to the woman. It's supposed to either be an apology that really understands what you did wrong and how it impacted the other person, and or some sort of punishment or, act of reconciliation. And this grovel fails on all counts, right? The apology says, I didn't know who you were when I placed the bet, but it doesn't say, and God, that was cruel to ever bet on anyone, or I can't even imagine how hurt you are. Like nothing. It is just an excuse, and it is a poor excuse. And then I think you're absolutely right that we're supposed to find it charming that rather than being humiliated by being naked, he's like, whatever, here I am in my honors stole, and I'm going to find it funny. And I do find it charming, right? Like, we all know this. If you fall and you're not hurt, laugh. Like if you laugh at yourself, the rest of the world doesn't have as much power over you. And so it is charming that he's able to laugh at himself, but it takes away all of the sting of it, which again means there's no grovel.
Correct.
So this isn't doing its trope right, Ronald.
No, because like we tortured poor Lainey this entire film.
Yes.
We tortured her. What was the restitution that you had to make? Like, you didn't get to walk into prom with her? Even your sister was like, she's going to be there. You'll get her back. So there was never an obstacle for Zach. And anything, him doing this bet somehow made him realize something about himself. So he extracted something from her.
Yep.
Even so, it feels like, what was the journey for Zach on this?
Right. And it means that the whole journey was Lainey's.
Correct.
And that Lainey's reward is Zach. And so it believes that this man is a prize, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not about him being taken down a notch, but it's about the fact that she wins. And by winning, we don't find out what art school she got into. We don't understand if she got a scholarship. She doesn't get an apology from the girls who bullied her. Nothing. Her reward for being tortured, humiliated, and not respected is Freddie Prinze Jr. Congratulations. You're the winner.
I desperately, and I knew this wasn't going to happen in a 1999 movie, I want more movies where specifically the woman chooses themselves at the end. Like they don't choose the man, any of that. It's just like, oh, Zach, this was nice. And yeah, maybe we even had a summer fling or whatever, but I'm going to college and I'm never going to think about you again because there's other stuff for me to be doing out here. So this was fun. I got to go. You're going to Harvard or Yale. You're not going to be thinking about me. Like, go do your thing at Harvard or Yale or Dartmouth. But I feel like we rarely see that because these movies want to continue to reinforce us that the greatest thing that you can have is romantic love. But again, that's something we know not to be true based on the relationships we cultivate in our lives. And there's a lot of times we're sitting in very happy places surrounded by people that love us, that we love, that aren't always centered around romantic love. They're centered around the ways in which we've cultivated the people around us. I just hate movies where they end up, oh, the guy was the prize. And I was like, no, he's not. You know he's not.
Yeah. I started looking up other movies that do what you're talking about, that make it about a young woman learning something separate from romance. And, we get Mean Girls 5 years later. 10 years later, we get An Education with Carey Mulligan. We also get an adaptation of the novel The Good Soldier as the movie The Good Guy with Alexis Bledel, where it turns out that the guy is a con artist and the woman picks herself, right? We are just a few years away from it being a regular story again about women growing and learning about themselves and choosing no one. And I feel like in the 1950s, there were stories like that too, right? There was something about the conservatism of the 90s where actually respectability, this is a movie about respectability.
Yes.
This is a movie about respectability, and the way to be respectable as a woman is to have a handsome, confident man. And the bandwidth for respectability for a white, attractive, wealthy guy is huge. And if you are not any one of those things, the bandwidth for the ways that you can be respectable are tiny.
I would say respectability and acceptability.
Right.
Because, again, she doesn't unmake herself over. The glasses don't come back. She does not grow back in the unibrow.
I know. She's not in overalls at the end.
No. So she does kind of reinforce this position that Zach is the prize. And we know the movie thinks that because it doesn't even point out, even though you have this art teacher come up to her and say, I faxed your thing to all these art schools, that only indicates to us that she's definitely going to get into art school. But she doesn't even have a moment with that rich art school girl who she painted like a clown where she says, oh, I'll see you at college next year. So it leaves you wondering, wait, so this whole journey wasn't about you being an artist. It was really just about you being accepted into what people are calling normal society, which, like, again, what were we doing in the 90s, Vanessa? What were we doing?
One other thing that I have to talk about, Ronald, Zach and Lainey are clearly about to make out. And we get this shot of her dad turning on fairy lights so that the two of them can have a romantic making out moment. What are we supposed to take away from this little moment?
I mean, if anything, it should have been the brother doing it and not the dad.
Yes!
I don't know why they chose the dad to do that, because I'm like,
such a good point.
It's not really what dads do. Like, they're not going to create a romantic environment for their daughter to do anything sexual with a guy that we know is questionable. That, especially as a father, if you've confirmed that this guy is questionable in terms of his intentions towards your daughter, the brother is young, a freshman, loves this guy, was disappointed by him. Of course, I would expect him to be like, oh yeah, I'm adjacent to popularity. Dad, absolutely not. There's no reason Kevin Pollak should have done that.
Right. And Simon, played by a very young, cute Kieran Culkin.
Looks the same to me.
He looks exactly the same. You will have no problem picking Kieran Culkin out in this movie.
He turns his head at one point and I was like, is that Roman?
Yeah.
Roman, is that you?
Roman is right there in the middle of this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zach defends Roman Roy at one point in this movie. So you would understand why he would turn the lights on. But the dad doing it, again, it's like this cute, winky moment that is totally unearned.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, them not showing Freddie Prinze Jr. repairing the relationship with the father and son, I think hamstrings that moment for me. Because at the end, I'm just like, why would you? No. If he came over, I'd be like, hey, we appreciate your apology. Get out of my house. As a matter of fact, it's one of those things where, like, when you have a friend and your friend was wronged by someone else, you can forgive them.
Right.
The person in between who was wronged, you can forgive that other person. I, as the friend, I don't ever have to forgive them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be suspicious of them forever. So if you bring them around, just know I'm always going to be like, oh yeah, that's him? Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, what's up? Nah, don't shake my hand. I don't trust you now. And I feel like that's typically, as a society that's people in community with each other, that's how we react. But for him to be like, yeah, come on in, go in the backyard. We got some lights for you. Make out with my daughter. Like, what? Come on, man. That dude we don't trust him.
He should be pulling Lainey aside and being like, I'm going to go upstairs. Call me if you need me.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching.
Right. One of the things, Ronald, that does seem to be a phenomenon is that in teenage movies where we get to see the young woman's home life, we see a lot with just the dad, right? We've talked about Dirty Dancing, that it's all about a young girl's relationship with her dad. And then in so many of the other movies, 10 Things I Hate About You, Clueless, Pretty in Pink, there is no mom. And I'm wondering what you think that's about. Is that in order to watch a woman come into her own, she has to do it without a woman looking over her? Again, that's so interesting about Mean Girls just a few years later where there is a mom, right? Like we actually see both Regina's mom and Katie's mom in the different ways that moms impact their kids. But why do we want these girls in the 80s and 90s to be motherless?
So I recently lost my mother.
I'm so sorry.
And it stands out to me now when I see characters without moms and the way that they play them, and they always play it with cancer. My mom had cancer. They always play it with cancer in a way that I'm just like, y'all are doing something I don't really like, and y'all aren't really depicting the devastation that it would have on somebody to lose a mother, especially at that age. I lost my mom at 40. Like to lose your mother in your formative years, I imagine that would be devastating. So then you look at the ways in which she's expressing herself through her art and all that. If they would actually seem like they were doing that intentionally instead of her being grumpy and all that, like if they were doing that on purpose and saying that she is grieving the loss of her mom and the loss of this feminine figure in her life who maybe would have given her guidance on any of the other parts of performative femininity that are done, maybe she would have been there in order to help her with those tasks. It doesn't feel like it's intentional in this movie. It kind of feels like it's in a lot of ways an oversight. And I don't necessarily feel the absence of a person until she's actually painting her mom later. And I'm like, oh, she misses her mom. So I feel like if you're going to put that in a movie, and I'm going to be super critical about this, having lost a mom, if you're going to put that in a movie, that has to be threaded throughout the whole movie. It can't just be in parts that are convenient to the plot, because any person who has lost their mom, that is the whole plot.
Right.
And there's no prize of Freddie Prinze Jr. that could fix that hole. I don't know why they did it to people in the 90s. I don't even think I answered your question, but I feel like if people are going to keep using this trope, if the big wigs listen to this podcast, I would say you need to do your research. Find some people with dead moms and let them tell you how that actually impacts their lives. Because as soon as you bring that up again, that's the whole movie now. That's not just one part of it.
Here's my theory, Ronald. It's that it parentifies the young woman and is saying that part of what is attractive about women is them mothering. I will say it's a joke in Clueless. Her mom died during a routine liposuction. Yeah. It's not cancer. Yeah. So Clueless at least has that originality. Yeah. But, like Cher is taking care of her dad and making sure that he eats right and ordering his blood pressure to be tested. Kat in 10 Things I Hate About You is watching out for her little sister. Andy in Pretty in Pink is watching out for her dad. And so I think what it's saying is part of what makes a young woman attractive is that she will be a caretaker.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like it either. And like without a mom there, in the opening of She's All That, she is bringing Kieran Culkin, a 14-year-old boy, breakfast in bed. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't get it.
It's so weird. No. And so I think that is why we have these dead moms, is so the women can show that they're going to be good moms because they are performing motherly duties at 16, 17 years old.
Again, if I thought this was intentional,
I don't think it's intentional. I think it's sexualizing motherhood.
Yeah, it's
really gross.
I mean, even in Beauty and the Beast, Belle has a dead mom, you know what I mean? And then she ends up mothering the beast. So it's like, now that you say that, I'm just like, ugh. And the other thing is like, here's what. If all of these women we were talking about had mothers, maybe their mom would have showed up to be like, hey, that dude sucks. Don't be with that guy. That's weird. Don't go to that castle, Belle. Come back here and read these books. We gonna hang out. Like, you don't need to go over there. Don't worry about none of that.
And you also don't need to date Gaston, sweetie. I'll go to the door and tell him no.
You don't got to be with him. No, that's done. Like, what are you talking about? Get out of here, Gaston.
It makes me love Patricia Clarkson and Easy A even more, though.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Okay, Ronald, if you could rewrite this ending, what would happen? How could you make this better?
The art teacher would come up to Lainey at the prom and say, hey, I submitted all your stuff to the art schools. You got accepted to the top one. this. I hope you feel good about this. And Lainey would be like, whoa, that's amazing. That's great. And at the prom, Freddie Prinze Jr. would walk up and be like, hey, Lainey, I'm sorry about so-and-so. And she'd be like, thank you so much for that apology. That's great. Why don't you finish the rest of the prom with Paul Walker? I'm going home. I got to get ready to go to art school. She goes home. She sees her father and her brother there. And she's like, hey, y'all, I got accepted to this art school. Let's go visit it next week. It flash forwards it to like a month later or something, 2 months later. And father and brother are dropping her off at art school. And she's like, wow. And as she walks onto campus, she meets a group of women who are there doing art. And they're like, hey, we saw your piece. It was really good. Why don't you come eat lunch with us? And it fades off with her walking off with them to do art and eat lunch and tapas or whatever. That's the end of the movie. And we don't ever see Freddie Prinze Jr., Paul Walker, or any of the rest of these losers again.
I have such a smaller fix. I love yours. Mine is just that her graduation gown is open and she's in overalls.
We can add that. Honestly, we can combine those endings.
Yeah. And like her glasses are back on.
Yeah. Glasses are back on.
Like I want her going to art school. I want everything you just said. But all I have is like, that girl is back in her comfy overalls.
I agree with this.
And maybe Kevin Pollak gets an answer on Jeopardy right.
Oh my God. That when the dude said Gutenberg, I was like, this could be a whole different movie of the soccer kid knowing that it was the Gutenberg
Bible at 15.
Oh,
I know.
That was incredible.
It's a good shtick. Ronald Young Jr., where can people find you before we say goodbye?
You can find me on Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, or TikTok at It's Big Ron. That's at OHITSBIGRON. And if you like podcasts, if you like this episode, if you want to hear me talking more about pop culture, you should check out Pop Culture Debate Club from Lemonade and the BBC, where we have debates about pop culture. We bring people on. They have to defend their points of view. I'm very excited about that show. So check that out. And you can also check out my other podcast, Wait For It, spelled WEIGHT, about body image. You can find both of those shows wherever you get your podcasts.
Ronald Young Jr., thank you so much for coming on and talking about this very silly movie with me.
Thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun.
You've been listening to Hot and Bothered. We are about to take 2 weeks off because we are switching from high school adaptations of classic literature to the theme 2008. And I'm so excited. But during our 2 weeks off, we have a live show, virtual. Everyone can come. It is on April 13th, and we are watching the movie 13 going on 30. That is the way that you can support our show, is by joining our live show. Go to NotSorryWorks.com to get tickets. We are a Not Sorry production. I'm the executive producer. We are edited and produced by Ariana Nettleman and distributed by Acast. Thanks as always to our beloved soulmate level patrons. Molly Reilly, who we would chase through an airport to declare our love to. Becky Boo, who we would wait for hours on the top of the Empire State Building for. Elizabeth Schweinsberg, whose heart we would play a game of one-on-one basketball for. Lauren Byron O'Connell, who we would call up on stage to dance with us in front of the whole summer camp. Claudia Hammerman, who we would give the whole door to float on, even if there was room for both of us. Avi Lichtenstein, who we would make every person in the kingdom try on a shoe for. Kristen Hall, who we would travel through a time portal to spend the 19th century with. Shiri Yadlin, who we would write a sonnet about and read it in front of the whole summer camp. And Delia Rose, who we are majorly, totally, but crazy in love with. Thanks this week again to Ronald Young Jr. If you can't get enough of him, go to our Patreon, where we have a bonus conversation about our favorite scene. And thanks, as always, to our wonderful team, Julia Argy, AJ Robbins, Nikki Zoltan, Courtney Brown, Anissa Ahmed, Danny Langley, and Stephanie Paul Sell. Bye, y'all. 2008.